The Texas high school football season rolls on, as do coaching changes from around the state. And about a week ago, you might have missed a pretty sizable move there in the smaller school ranks. We are joined by the new head coach of the Corrigan-Camden Bulldogs, Coach Brett Ratliff. Coach, how are you?
Good, Mr. Tepper. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Doing excellent. Appreciate your time. First and foremost, congratulations on the job. I know that as an alumnus of Corrigan-Camden, that had to be special for you, but I'm interested in why this was the right job for you.
You know, personally and professionally, I just thought this was a dream come true for me. It was an opportunity that I simply could not pass up. First and foremost, I have to say that I love Hondo with all my heart, where I'm leaving my job right now. It's a great place, great people, great students. But, when home comes calling and your sister still lives there and your mom and dad and you played there and you remember the great times that you had and you want that for your kids and you want that for your family, and it's a great situation to jump into with the tradition that Corrigan-Camden has had. It was too hard a job to pass up for me.
Yeah, that's something that I think is really interesting is you leave a job that I know you were really passionate about there at Hondo, and I know that you a ton of tradition there as well. I am interested kind of in how difficult that was. That's a place that you were there for 3 years. You have 3 really solid years, playoff years there for the Owls. I can't imagine that it was easy, even with a job as appealing as Corrigan-Camden, for you to leave Hondo.
Oh, it was not easy at all. I mean, it was painstakingly hard, and that's kind of what I've let the community know here. But you know what? It's a tribute to how great the community is and how great the town and the kids are that they basically hug my neck. They can't hug my neck right now, but shot me texts and messages and let me know how supportive they were in my decision and how excited they were for me and that they're going to keep up with me and wanted me to do great things in Corrigan. And I'm excited to go and do that.
I'm a little interested. We don't really ask coaches a lot about the hiring process, but I will also say that we don't also have global pandemics very often.
Right.
What was the hiring process? Because I'm sure you had to interview and stuff like that. What was all that like?
Honestly, it wasn't much different than any other process I've been part of. I will say that the committee was smaller. The hiring committee, which rightfully so. And when we went into the committee, we were sitting 6 feet apart from each other. There was no handshakes or how are you doing when you walk in, those formalities and those things that you really get used to when you're meeting people and getting to sit down and talk to them. It was more sit down, let's get to business and let's talk about the job. And, there were 2 rounds just like normal. It was very similar, but it was not as, I guess, personal, if you want me to explain it that way, just because of the situation we're in.
No, certainly that makes sense. We're talking with Brett Ratliff, the new head coach of the Corrigan-Camden Bulldogs here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation, #TF Today. Speaking of the strange circumstances, I haven't asked you this, but I'm almost positive you have not gathered all your kids in the same room yet. But
no, not at all.
Have you had an opportunity to connect with them? And if you have, what has been your message to them?
Well, I finished getting the job. I was hired last Tuesday. Actually, I was back on my way to Hondo right after that to try to finish up a couple things here. This week is my first week that I'll be really on the job, and I'll be reaching out to those guys and girls. What I'm going to try to do as best I can is talk to them through social media, through a Zoom process or through a FaceTime and try to get these social media platforms up and running in Corrigan like we do in Hondo. I think that's really benefited our program these past 3 years here, and I want to implement that there. And we're going to hit the ground running after that. This is not the ideal transition that you would want, especially for a position like this, and I'm so excited about getting started. But, yeah, it's going to be a challenge, and it's going to be a fun challenge.
I'm interested kind of in what kind of team we can expect to see there in Corrigan, because Coach Seven Armstrong, who was there for 13 years there in Corrigan, they ran the wing T, they ran the 3-4 defense. You don't run either of those, or at least you didn't at Hondo.
Right.
What can we expect to see? What kind of style of football can we expect to see from the Bulldogs under Coach Ratliff?
we're going to see, spread option based football, just like I've run anywhere else I've been, what I run in New Diana, what I've ran in Hondo. And I think that it's successful. Offensively, we're going to do that. And defensively, we're going to run more of a 4-3 concept, which is what we run here. I just feel real strongly about those. Obviously, I'm going to, evaluate through video, and I've already started doing that, the players that I have coming back and their strengths, and we're going to tailor-make the offense and the defense to those guys and what their strengths are. But at the same time, I have to put my spin on it and do what we do and do what I'm passionate about and what I'm good at doing. And that's what we're going to get after and do. And I think a lot of times as coaches, we have to give kids a ton of credit in being resilient and understanding football. And I'm going to put a lot of trust in those kids and these coaches to do that and do that in a short period of time.
Because it strikes me, one thing that's really interesting is, you do plan on shifting the offense a little bit and shifting the defense and doing an even front. Those are pretty significant changes. Does the current situation with the ability not being able to get in the classroom with kids and teach them these things, is it fair to say that that's going to up the degree of difficulty for a transition like that?
Oh, it's fair, 100%. It's definitely going to up that degree of difficulty, which that means their kids are going to have to do their due diligence in learning the system that we put in place as fast as possible. And obviously, I'm going to have to scale back and be a little simpler, a little earlier. And then if I have to incorporate some of the things that they've done in the past with my terminology, I will 100% do that because we're going to put the kids in the best situation to be successful.
It's Brett Ratliff, the new head coach of Corrigan-Camden. Coach, one last question. You're not moving alone. You're moving with your wife Lindsay, your daughter Lillian, and your son William. What do they think about the move? I know you mentioned you have some family there still in Corrigan. What are the actual bosses, the people who actually make the decisions in the household? What do they think about the move?
Yeah, they are my bosses. There's no doubt about that. I might be the boss on the field and in the field house, but they are the boss at the real house. They were excited about the opportunity. My wife, her family lives in Troop, Texas, which is probably about an hour and 20 minutes from where we're moving to. And, my kids, my son, especially being 12 and being in 6th grade, he's developed a lot of great friends here. And it's always a little tough when they have to move into a new place, but it's not a new place. It's a place he's very familiar. He'll get to spend time with his grandparents. He'll get to go see his aunt and uncle and his cousins. So to me, they were excited. They're fired up about the move. Very supportive.
Oh, that's outstanding. He's Coach Brett Ratliff. He's the new head coach of the Corrigan-Camden Bulldogs. Coach, really appreciate your time. Congratulations again on the new gig, and we'll be talking down the road.
Hey, thanks, Mr. Stepper. I appreciate it.